Hello and welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be going over how to add fractions with the same denominator, and we're going to be introducing the concept of adding fractions. So, since we know what a fraction looks like, let's just jump into what an addition problem looks like for fractions. Let's look at 1/2 plus 1/2. In this fraction, you'll notice that both denominators are the same, and in this case specifically, both numerators are the same as well. The general rule for adding fractions, if they have the same denominator, is that you just add the numerator, and then you write the same denominator that both fractions have. So in this case, 1 plus 1 is 2. So we're going to write 2 in the numerator, and then since 2 is the denominator for both of these fractions, we're not going to add them, we're just going to rewrite 2 again. And now you see we have 2 over 2. We can simplify that because we know that 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. So 1 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 is equal to 1, and that makes sense, logically. Let's try this again with a different problem. Let's try 2/5 plus 1/5. Again, we're going to add the numerator, 2 plus 1, and then carry over the denominator that both these fractions have. Remember, don't add them, so it's just going to be 5. So 2/5 plus 1/5 is equal to 3/5. We can't simplify that, so that's the answer. Now let's try another problem. 3/7 plus 4/7. Again, we're going to add the numerator, so 3 plus 4 is equal to 7, and then carry over the denominator. Again, it's 7, and we can simplify this to 1. Let's try another problem. 2 plus 5/6. So what we're going to do here is we could always just write 2 and 5/6. But if you want to have the answer in and you from here, what you can do is you can also change it into an improper fraction if necessary. But another way we could do this is if we didn't want to just turn it into a mixed fraction first, we could try to turn the 2 into an improper fraction here and then add it all together. So let's try that. How do we write 2 into a fraction with 6 as the denominator? Well, as we learned from before, what we're going to do is basically find the problem where we have 6 here, and then what numerator divided by 6 is going to be equal to 2? Well, all we have to do is 6 times 2, and we get 12. So now we have 12, and we're just going to write this problem over again, but now instead of 2, we have 12 over 6. And then we add like we were adding over here. So 12 plus 5 is equal to 17. And then you carry over the denominator, and this is your answer in an improper fraction. And if you wanted to, you could try to turn this into a mixed fraction, and you're going to get the same mixed fraction as we got in the first time we did this problem, which is basically just 2 and 5/6. Now let's try another problem. Let's do 2 plus 3 5/62. We're going to make this a little more complicated. Alright, so one way we could do this is we could always, instead of turning it into an improper fraction, which would make it a little more complicated, because here we have one second, I'm just going to make sure we write 2 and 5/6. Alright, so here we have a mixed fraction as the second number. Since we practiced how to turn integers into mixed fractions. So here we're going to keep it simple, and we're just going to write. If you have this kind of problem, just make sure you add the two whole numbers in it, and you just carry over the fraction, and that's good enough. So for this problem, it equals 5 and 5/62. No need to worry about the fraction, just add up the whole numbers. Now let's try another problem. Let's do 1/5 plus 3 and 2/5. Here, instead of having a whole number and a mixed fraction. Now we have a fraction and a mixed fraction. And what we're going to do here is we're going to add the two fractions and then just carry over the whole number. So we get 3, and then let's add 1/5 and 2/5. So since they have the same denominator, we're just going to do 1 plus 2 is 3 over 5. So that's our answer, 3 and 3/5. Now let's try the problem 6/7 plus 2 and 1/7. Since this looks like exactly what we did before, so we're going to do this again. We're going to look at the fractions and add those together and then carry over the whole number. So 2 is the whole number. Now we're going to add the top and the bottom. 6 plus 1 is 7. Oh, we're not going to add the bottom. We're going to carry over the bottom. So 7. And so now we have this fraction, 7 over 7, and we know that that equals 1. So 2 and 7/7 is the same thing as saying 3, because we just add that 1. That was a fraction next to the 2. Alright, and now let's try one more problem. We're going to do 6/7 plus 2 and 3/7. Again, we're going to carry over the whole number and then add the fractions. So 6 plus 3 is equal to 9. And then we carry over the same denominator, which is 7. Here, since we have an improper fraction, so let's turn we're trying to make it into a proper mixed fraction. So what we can do is, we know that 7 over 7 is equal to 1. So if we turn that part into 3, then what's left over in the fraction? So we took away 7 out of the fraction. So we're basically going to do 9 minus 7 equals 2. And so what's left over is 2/7, because we took 7 over 7 and turned it into, and we added it onto the whole number. So our answer is 3 and 2/7. That's how to add fractions with the same denominator. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.